I have my handy dandy recipe notebook, so you already know what time it is. Let's get cooking. Welcome to my channel. This is Minnie Moving Mountains. My name is Minnie, and this is my series called Minnie Meals. Disclaimer, I am not a professional chef, nor am I a nutritionist. I'm just a girl in her moo who cooks every night for her husband, so I can teach you how to cook, change up your meals for the week, or just give you something positive to watch. There is no fancy lighting. I just use a craft light. There is no fancy editing. I do this in one cut. And normally I would say no fancy makeup, but for the occasion I put on some lipstick and I still have my makeup on from work. But there will be no fancy filters. I just forgot my intro, and I am not going to edit that out. Hold on one moment so I can think about it. Sorry, I had to think about it. I got distracted by the lipstick. Anyway, I'm not editing that out. So today is Wednesday, May the 27th, 2026, meal 100. And that's why I have lipstick on, because this is meal 100 of the year, and I wanted to bring it all the way back. So I started my very first TikTok in January of 2025, and this is what I made on that episode, which was Cuban pork. So I thought I would recreate it on our 100th episode of 2026. So today is, like I said, May 27th, 2026, meal 100. Today we're having Cuban spiced pork with pineapple salsa, citrus glazed onions, and cilantro lime rice. So when I cook, I will go ahead and turn around the camera so you can see the ingredients and the steps, because I assure you, there's nothing fancy going on here. I just want to focus on what you came here for, which is to learn how to cook. So let's move mountains together and let's get cooking. Here are the ingredients for today's episode. Now remember, I just cooked for my husband and I, so if you have a family that's bigger than ours, you're going to need to double, triple, or quadruple the recipe. On today's episode, you're going to need pork, onions that are thinly sliced, 1 orange that was zested and squeezed, 3/4 cup of jasmine rice, lime that was zested and quartered, cilantro, and pineapple chunks. To the stovetop, you're going to heat a medium pot on medium heat and a large pot on medium heat as well. And it wouldn't be a Minnie's meal unless we cooked our rice in our only teal pot that I cooked specifically only rice. You're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. And in celebration of our 100th episode, we have to bring out my very first sunshine, or my very first Dutch oven that I ever had. My grandmother had a yellow Dutch oven, and my husband was so sweet, and he hunted me down a yellow Dutch oven. So this was the very first pot that I ever made a TikTok in, was my yellow Dutch oven. The yellow one you're going to heat to medium heat. And yes, I cooked this on an induction burner because for some reason this stovetop only has 1 large burner. To your large pan on medium heat, you're going to drizzle a neutral oil. This is olive. While we wait for the butter to melt, we're going to season our pork. Season both sides with 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper and 1/4 teaspoon of the Cuban spice blend. Flip and season with the same mixture, salt, pepper, and Cuban spice. Now that your butter has melted, you're going to add your jasmine rice, cilantro, 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper, and 1 1/4 cup of water that you're going to bring to a boil. This is my rice spoon. I only use this spoon for rice. I'm cracking myself up. I only use this spoon for rice, and I only use this pot for rice. So stir so it doesn't stick to the bottom, and bring this to a boil. Now, in my original recipe, when I made this over a year ago, I did everything in just 1 pot. But your girl is hungry, so we brought out the second induction burner, and we're just so everything cooks at once. You're going to bring this second pan to medium heat, but of course, you can't all do it in 1 pot. I'm just impatient. In your In a large pan on medium heat, you're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Now that our rice has come to a boil, you're going to go ahead and mix it again, just so the rice doesn't stick. Reduce the heat to low. Cover. My white timer is for my stovetop. You're going to cook the rice for 15 minutes. To your pan that had the oil, you're going to add your pork. My blue timer is for my induction burner. You're going to cook the pork for 5 minutes. To your second pan, once your butter has melted or semi-melted, you're going to add your onions, pineapple, lime zest, orange zest, the remainder of your Cuban spice blend, 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Mix well. Mix, mix, mix. You want to mix it now. Shout out Meme from Feed Meme, which I'm going to turn around the camera for a second. I have something to say about that. So I have a little bit of a gripe. So I just said mix, mix, mix. We want to mix it now. That comes from Feed Meme's channel on YouTube. If you like food content, check her out. But give credit where credit is due. I was watching something the other day, and I was like, wait a minute. So you guys know I made the Mexican street corn bowls the other day, and I always say, you know, let's get cooking, let's move mountains together. There was a very popular YouTube person, I'm not going to say her name because I'm not trying to spread any hate, who was using my lines, and she didn't even give me credit. And she said, let's move mountains together, and let's get cooking. That's my line. But nonetheless, I'm going to let it go. She must be a fan. So if you're seeing this, you know who you are. Making my recipe, which I love. But give credit where credit is due. Anyway, back to the scheduled programming. Now that the onions are starting to caramelize, you're going to reduce the heat to low. Once your pork has cooked, you're going to flip it. Cook for another 5 minutes. Back to our onions, we're going to add our orange juice and juice from half of a lime. And you're going to mix well, and you're going to reduce the orange juice down for the remainder of the cook. Once your pork has cooked, you're going to let it rest for at least 3 minutes before slicing it on a wooden cutting board. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, you always want to let your meat rest before you slice it to enclose the juices and to also make sure that it doesn't spread out. Because remember, meat is a muscle. And also, the reason why it's on a wooden cutting board is because plastic cutting boards have a lot of bacteria opposed to wooden cutting boards that do not. Of course, use what you have, but I always put my meat on a wooden cutting board. Once your rice has cooked, you're going to fluff the rice with the fork. I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea why I do this. My grandmother always did it, so I do it too. But I really don't know what the purpose is, because the rice is cooked. Mix your onions one more time. And dinner is ready. Time to plate. And that's it. You did it. You made a home-cooked meal. Good job. I'm going to turn around the camera so we can chat. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's episode. It's truly an honor and privilege to be able to cook with you guys, truly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much. It makes me emotional. This is my 100th episode of this year, and this is over 400 recipes that I've created in the last, since 2025 of January. So you guys, thank you guys so much for celebrating all of my wins and losses. But thank you truly from the bottom of my heart. For this recipe, you can find it on my website, which is www.minniemeals.com. For my long form content, you can find it on my YouTube channel and Facebook at Minnie Salvant. For all my short form content, you can find it on my TikTok, Lemonade, or Instagram at Minnie Moving Mountains. And if you need a car, you can find me at Minnie Moving Motors. Let's move mountains together and, oh my God, what is my outro? Let's move mountains together and let's get cooking. Oh my gosh, is that it? Whatever. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's move mountains together and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.